Hello viewers, welcome to EduTube. In this lesson, we are going to learn multiplication and division of fractions. So our first example, we are multiplying 3 out of 8 by 12 out of 15. So to multiply this fraction, the first thing we will look out for is what can divide, or the common factor that can divide the numerators and the denominators to simplify the fractions further. Now, to divide the fractions, it is important that you know that you can only divide across. You cannot divide a denominator by a denominator. Neither can you divide a numerator by a numerator. You can only divide a numerator by a denominator, whether in diagonal across like this or in vertical across like this. So you can only divide a numerator by a denominator. So in the numerators and the denominators, we will look for what can divide, a common factor that can divide in any of each approach that we are looking at it. So looking from 3 and 15 in diagonal, we will see that 3 and 15 have a common factor, and their common factor is 3 itself. So 3 can simplify both 3 and 15. So I will say 3 in 3, and that will give us what? 1. And then I will say 3 in 15, and that will give us what? 5. Then if you look in diagonal like this also, we'll see that 12 and 8 has a common factor, and their common factor is 4. So 4 can divide 8, and that will give us 2, and 4 can divide 12, and that will give us what? 3. So now that we've simplified the fraction, now it is time to multiply them. So to multiply them, we'll look what we have in the numerators. We have 1 left in the numerator here and 3 left in the numerator here. So I'm going to write 1 times 3 all out of, then in the denominators I have 2 and 5. So I'll say all out of 2 times 5. Now if I multiply these numbers together, 1 times 3, I will have 3 in the numerator here, and 2 times 5, I will have 10 in the denominator here. So I have 3 out of 10, which is a proper fraction. So and that is that about example 1. And for example 2, we are multiplying mixed numbers. 1 whole number 1 out of 9 times 1 whole number 1 out of 5 times 2 whole number 1 out of 2. So to do this operation, we will first of all convert the mixed numbers to an improper fraction. So if you convert this mixed number to improper fraction, we will have 10 out of 9. How did I do that? Just multiply your whole number by your denominator. 1 times 9, that gives you 9, then plus your numerator, which is 10. So I have 10 out of 9. So the same applies to the second mixed number. So I'll put my times. So 1 times 5, 5 plus 1, that gives me 6 out of 5. Then for this also, 2 times 2, that gives me 4 plus 1, that gives me 5 out of 2. So successfully I have converted the mixed numbers to improper fraction. Now I can now consider their common factors. That means what can divide in the numerators or in the numerators and the denominators, considering whether diagonal approach or vertical approach. So if I look diagonally like this, I will see that 6 and 9 has something in common, which is 3. So 3 can divide 9, and that will give us what? 3. And 3 can simplify 6, that will give us what? 2. If I look diagonal like this also, I will see that 5 and 5 are common factors of each other. So 5 here, 5 here. So I will have 1 and 1. Then if I look in diagonal also, 10 in the numerator here and 2 in the denominator here. 2, of course, is their common factor. So 2 in 2, I will have 1. And then 2 in 10, I will have what? 5. Now the next thing is to write out the numerators I have left. In the numerators I have 5, 2 and 1. So 5 times 2 times 1 all out of, in the denominators I have 3, 1 and 1. So 3 times 1 times 1. So and that will give me 5 times 2 times 1, that will give me what? 10 out of 3 times 1 times 1, that will give me 10 out of 3. Now if you look at this fraction, you will see that this is an improper fraction, and And if you have an improper fraction in your working, it is appropriate or it is obligatory that you convert the improper fraction to a mixed number. So to convert to a mixed number, I will say 3 in 10. 3 divides 10, and I will have 3 whole number, because 3 times 3 is 9. And if I take away the 9 from this 10, I'll be left with a remainder of 1. So 3 in 10 is 3 whole number remainder, 1 out of 3. So I've converted the improper fraction to a mixed number. So this is the result of the multiplication of this mixed number, 3 whole number 1 out of 3. In example 3, we are dividing 3 whole number 3 out of 8 by 1 whole number 1 out of 8. So to do division of mixed number, the first step is to convert the mixed number to improper fraction. So to convert the mixed number to improper fraction, just like we did in example 2, so I will say 3 times 8, that gives me 24, then plus my numerator, so 24 plus 3, that gives me 27. So I'm going to have a new fraction which is 27 out of 3. Then this divide, I'll still put the divide. Okay, so then I will convert this also to improper fraction. 1 times 8, that gives me 8. 8 plus 1, that gives me 9. So I'll write 9 out of 8. So now I have 27 out of 3 divided by 9 out of 8. But can I divide this number now, or like this? I can't. I have to first of all convert this division sign into a multiplication sign, and that will have an effect on the number close to it, on the number next to it, on the fraction next to it. So what am I saying in essence? What I'm saying in essence is that I will have 27 out of 3. Then this division sign will change to times, and then the division sign changing to times will have a consequence on the number next to it. So this next number next to it, 9 over 8, will invert, because this divide has inverted into times. The opposite of divide is times. So the divide has inverted into times. So therefore, the number next to it has to also invert. So instead of having 9 out of 8, I will have 8 out of 9. Now at this juncture, I can now consider what can divide in the numerators and the denominators. So if I look diagonal, I will see that 3 and 8 has nothing in common. And if I look like this, I will see that 27 and 3 has something in common. If I also look like this, I will see that 27 and 9 has something in common. So whichever direction or whichever approach or whichever way you want to divide, you can. So, but for this fraction, for this example, I will do it this way to fasten the process. So I will say how many 9 goes in 9, I will have 1, and then how many 9 goes in 27, I have 3. So now if I look in vertical across like this, I will see that 3 can cancel 3, 3 can divide 3. So I will say 3 in 3, I will have 1, and then 3 in 3, I will also have what? 1. Now I can rest, so I can now write out the numerators and the denominators that I have left. So in the numerator here, I have 1 and I have 8. So I'm going to say 1 times 8 all out of, in the denominator I have 1 and 1. 1 times 1, that will give me 1. So 1 times 1, that gives me 8 out of, and then 1 times 1, that gives me 1. And 8 over 1, any number divided by 1 will give you the same number. So 8 over 1 will still give me what? 8, which is my final answer for the division. Now the last example, I have a mixed operation of division and multiplication. See the same process. You could also see that I have a mixed number. So I'm first of all going to convert the mixed number to improper fraction before carrying out the operation. So if I convert this to improper fraction, I will have 24 out of 5. Because 4 times 5 is 20, 20 plus 4 is 24 out of 5. Then I'll put my division sign. Then I'll convert this, that will give me 7 out of 5, then times. Then I'll convert this also, this will give me 21 out of 16. Because 1 times 16, 16 plus 5, that's 21. Now that I've converted all the mixed numbers to improper fraction, I can now work on the operation. So to work on the operation, as we did in example 3, the first thing we'll do is to convert this divide into times, to invert, not even convert, to invert this divide into times. So doing that, we have a consequential effect on the number next to it. So the number next to it, the fraction next to it, has to also what? Invert. So let me write that out without blabbing further. So I will have 24 out of 5. Don't forget, it is the number next to the division times, the division sign that is changing to times, that will be inverted. So division has changed to times, then the number next to it, which is 7 out of 5, will be inverted also to become 5 out of 7. Then this is naturally or has already been a times from the onset, so the times remain and the number next to it will not invert because we didn't invert it. It was like that from the onset. So we'll still have 21 out of 16. So no inversion in this, only in this, because the division sign here changed to times. Now I can now work on this fraction by considering their common factors that can divide in the numerators and the denominator. So if I look across, I will see that 5 can cancel 5. So 5 here 1 and 5 here 1. If I also look across, I will see that 7 can divide 21. So 7 here 1, 7 and 21, that will give me 3. If I also look across like this, I will see that 24 and 16 has 8 in common as their greatest common factor. So I will say 8 in 16, that will give me 2, and then 8 in 24, that will give me what? 3. So now that I've simplified the fractions, so I'm now going to write out what I have left in the numerators and the denominators. So here I have 3, here I have 1, here I have 3. So I'm going to write 3 times 1 times 3, all out of, here I have 1, 1, 2, all out of 1 times 1 times 2. So 3 times 1 times 3, basically that will give me 9, because 3 times 1 is 3 and then 3 times 3 is 9, all out of 1 times 1 here is 1 and then 1 times 2, that will give me what? 2. So I have 9 out of 2. Now 9 out of 2 is an improper fraction. So am I going to leave my answer like this? No, I have to convert the improper fraction to a mixed number. To convert it to a mixed number, I will just divide 9 by 2 and then use the remainder as a numerator. So 9 divided by 2, I will have 4 whole number, because 2 times 4 is 8, and if I take away 8 from 9, I will have a remainder of 1 out of 2. So I've converted 9 out of 2 to 4 number 1 over 2, which is the final answer for this operation. So that is that about multiplication and division of this fraction. Thank you for watching. If you are new to this channel, kindly please support our channel by clicking on the subscription button below this video to get notified of more academic lessons like this. And if you are a returning subscriber, I will say a big thank you for your love and support always. I will see you in the next lesson.